Defence Minister Harjit Sajjan says the Canadian Armed Forces will adapt to the times with a greater emphasis on combating cyber attacks.
We'll be developing that new cyber operator. This is making sure that we keep our men and women in uniform safe, and also give them the ability to be able to not just wait for attack and be defensive, but also to be able to proactively defend themselves as well.
Sajjan was discussing cybersecurity today at the Edmonton Garrison. The strategy is part of the government's recently announced plan to increase defense spending by 70% over the next decade. In Churchill, Manitoba, a crisis is developing, the result of flooding that washed out the only rail track into town. The Hudson Bay Railway line has been out of operation since late May, and over 19 points along this stretch are covered in water or damaged beyond use. Cameron McIntosh now with the severity of the situation and concerns about the future of a northern tourism-dependent town.
It's a narrow band of steel running north, the lone rail link to Hudson Bay in the Arctic, now washed out in several places due to floods in northern Manitoba, cutting off rail access to Churchill, a global tourist destination heading into its busy beluga whale and polar bear seasons.
I just invested $500,000 last year into this hotel.
John Romanchuk depends on the train to bring tourists to his hotels.
I'm suffering, my phone's ringing, I'm suffering up to 40% loss of the summer season. I'm really getting nervous about polar bear season.
In the dark days of 1917.
Built a century ago, the Hudson Bay Line is Canada's northernmost railway, making it strategic but expensive to operate. Omnitrax, the company that owns it, is trying to sell. It says the damage will take weeks to assess, while repairs might not happen until the soft land the tracks run on freezes.
Can't wait that long, I mean, so they've indicated they don't have the money to do it all.
The town's mayor says this goes beyond tourism. For Churchill and points further north, the line is crucial for heavy goods like food and fuel that are expensive to fly in and difficult to store, and now are at risk of running out.
I don't even want to go there. I mean, it's all about moving ahead and getting it done.
Both the federal and provincial governments say they're looking at the damage, assessing subsidies for alternative shipping.
It should be understood, it's not a quick fix situation.
At the moment, what we are focused on is making sure that both the port and the airport are able to take up the necessary slack.
Meanwhile, the rail is unique infrastructure in Canada's north. Once federally owned, now private, it's struggled to make money for decades. Spence says now is the time to rethink how it's being used.
Does it have a future? You're damn right it has a future.
Yet what that future will look like is unclear, with questions over when that track will be repaired, who's going to pay for it, and ultimately, who's going to run it. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.